Thank you for stopping by. If you want to know how to make a delicious sorrel cake, you're in the right place.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Hobby Rose Cook. If it's your first time here, my name is Marceline. Welcome and I'm happy to have you.
So, step number one, if you already have your fruits soaking and you want to go ahead and use it, fine. But for those who want to retain that beautiful red color from the sorrel, you want to stay away from that deep dark brown raisins and use the golden raisins instead, and you want to omit the prunes as well. For the cranberries, I'm using about quarter cup because I don't want to use too much because cranberry can get a bit sour. All right, so you don't want to use too much cranberries. I'm adding a lot of golden raisins. I'm adding in my cherries, lots of cherries as well. And I like to chop it first for the sorrel cake. And the reason for that is I don't want to stew the fruits and then chop it because it will most likely puree, and we don't want it to puree. We want it to be of a consistency that you can taste pieces of your fruits in the cake, because remember we already have the sorrel that is already pureed. All right, so we don't want it the cake to be too dense. I just added in some mixed peel, and I know some people don't like mixed peel because they said that they don't like to taste it in the cake. You don't have to add a lot, just add a small amount. It does add a bit of a difference in your cake. It tastes really nice. Just don't add too much. All right. So I add in some cherries by themselves to chop, and the reason for that is because I want the cherries to just chop just a little bit so that I can have big pieces of cherries in the cake as well. And that is something that is totally optional. You don't have to do that. So that is what I'm doing now. And then we're going to head over to the stove. I'm going to add some rum, some wine, and a little of the cherry juice in my fruits. And I'm going to stew them for about 10 minutes. Fruits will continue to cook in the cake, so you don't need to stew it for a long time. All right, so once our fruits is stewed and cooled, then we're gonna start with our baking process. This is a time that you want to go ahead and pre-prep everything. You want to put all your dry ingredients together. You want to make sure that your baking pan is lined with parchment paper, and you also want to make sure that you have your egg ready. I like to prep my egg because it takes a while to remove the eyes, and I remove the eyes from the eggs. I don't like it because it's just the way that I was raised. You don't necessarily have to do that, but I like to remove the eyes from the eggs. Now, the next step to retain color is not to use brown sugar. Yes, I know I'm gonna get a little heat for this one, but that's okay. It's a preference. You can go ahead and use granulated sugar if you're looking for a beautiful red cake. We're just trying to omit all the stuff that will make your cake become dark, and that's what I'm sharing with you. I added 2 cups of all-purpose flour, which you want to go ahead and sift it to make sure that it's more refined. I added 1 cup of breadcrumb. You don't have to do the breadcrumb method. If you haven't seen my fruit cake, the breadcrumb method, you can check out that video as well. But the breadcrumb will give the cake more texture since we're using the pureed sorrel. It will help to absorb some of that liquid. All right. So I added my 3 teaspoons of baking powder, and I added my spices, and I also added my salt. And I just whisk everything together to make sure that it is properly combined. All right. And now I'm just scraping the side of my butter to make sure that it is mixed in properly. Once it is nice and fluffy and the sugar is mixed into the butter properly, we're going to go ahead and gradually add our eggs. I'm also gradually adding some orange zest. You can use lime zest if you want, but I just prefer to use the orange zest. And I'm going to go ahead and just do that gradually until everything is combined. Now for the fruits, I'm using 3 cups of fruits, and everyone have their preference. Some people like more of a cakier texture, and they don't want a lot of fruits in there, but it is a fruit cake, so we're gonna go in with 3 cups of fruit, and then I'm gonna go in with my sorrel. When I'm doing my 1 pound cake mixture, I normally use 4 to 5 cups of fruits in it, But the sorrel cake, I'm adding the sorrel, so I only use 3 cups of that blended fruits. All right, I'm gonna mix everything in, and then we're gonna gradually fold in our dry ingredients. I'm also adding in my vanilla. I add 1.5 tablespoon of vanilla, and we're gonna also add a mixture of rum and wine in there as well. I do like a 1/4 cup of a mixture of rum and wine. I'm adding just a little toops of almond essence. You don't want to taste this thing in your cake too much. It's very potent along with the rose water. I just add a little, maybe like 1/4 teaspoon of rose water and just a little toops, just a drop of almond essence. All right. So it's up to you if you want to pour. I don't pour when it comes on to almond essence. It's very, very strong, and I don't want to taste it in my cake like that. All right. So now we're gonna go ahead, get our wooden spoon, and we're gonna fold in our flour little by little. And while I am folding in and I'm watching my color, I want a bit of a vibrant red. So my natural colorant that I'm gonna use is beetroot powder. This is optional, guys. You don't have to, because this color can still give you a nice cake after it's baked, a nice red cake after it's baked. But I am adding in some beet powder. If you don't mind using food coloring, it's totally up to you. You can use that, but I'm using this beet powder. It's very, very nice, and you can thank me later when you try it out. I want to also mention that my sorrel puree was 2 cups, 2 cups of sorrel puree. I also already have my oven preheated at 280 degrees. I have a water bath in the bottom. The water bath, you don't have to add it for the entire time. You just want to make sure that for the first hour your cake is retaining that moisture. But because of the sorrel content in the cake, you don't necessarily have to keep the sorrel, the water bath in there for the entire time. All right. But it does make you have like a very moist cake. I did add about 2 to 3 tablespoons of the beetroot powder. I honestly don't remember. I think it's about 3, but I will watch back the video while I'm editing and I will know exactly the amount of beetroot powder that I used. All right, so we just want to mix in, fold in everything. Everything is looking nice. The texture of the mixture is looking nice, and we are ready to bake. And I am going to go ahead and fill this pan up. This is a 10-inch pan. This is a very dense cake, so you can fill it up all the way. It's not going to bake and run over because it's a very dense cake. It's not like a light cake or, any regular cake. And I bake it at 280. It took about 2.5 hours. So be mindful of that. All right. All right, so this is it, guys, going in the oven. And I know some of you love to talk about put on your gloves. For those who know me and know that when I'm baking cake to sell, I do cover my hair, I do wear my gloves, I keep my hands clean, guys. And this cake is for my family, it's for me, okay? So I don't need to wear any gloves, and I know that my hands are clean. So here I have some sorrel left over. I just pour some rum and wine on it. And immediately after the cake comes out of the oven, you want to pour that sorrel wine all over your cake. All right. Make sure that you cover every area. And we're going to put this cake down. Believe it or not, we're going to put it down until the next day. I went to my class, and when I came back, I cut it. So here I am the next day, ready to dive in. You have to have patience, okay? Don't cut your cake the same day. You won't really enjoy it that first day, and you won't get a nice cut out of the cake. All right? So just have some patience. I'm gonna go ahead and cut me a nice slice, and that slice that you saw me cut, I really didn't eat it up at the same time. I really didn't. Okay, so I just want to show you how moist and show you the texture of this cake, because I can't really bake it and not show you, right? So that's what we're gonna do. And of course, I have to taste it on the camera. For those who are subscribed to my Facebook, I will be posting the entire ingredients and the recipe in the Facebook group for my subscribers. But for those who are not in that group, I did went through all the ingredients for you, so I think that should be enough for you to bake this cake. I really do want to help you to have a beautiful Christmas cake on your Christmas table or your Thanksgiving table, whichever one. And please, for crying out loud, that was the last bit of sorrel. If you watch a previous video where I make the sorrel puree, that was the last bit of sorrel that I had. I really don't have any sorrel. So to my loyal customers, please don't ask me for a sorrel cake because I don't like to use the dry sorrel. I've tried it and I didn't like it. But the
This
fresh
cake
sorrel
is
that I
soft.
had was from my mother-in-law and it's
It
all
is so
done.
moist.
That was the last bit of it that I used to make
Mm.
this
You
cake.
can taste the rum.
Right?
No man. That a lot of I'm gonna share the recipe here. Because look at softness. Even the ginger. You can taste the ginger. This is really good. Top tier.
So that's all for now. If you didn't see the sorrel puree video, you can check that video out. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate you all. And may God continue to bless you and your family. Continue to support me. Leave a comment, like the video, share it. And I will see you guys in my next Thanksgiving series.